Well, there we are. Hello, guys. It's Kathy with Kincaid Special Creations coming to you with West Virginia Wednesday. Today we're going to talk about shadow chasers. And so I'm just going to hang around and wait to see if anybody shows up. I know I've had several people to look at it. They didn't forget in the last little bit. So we'll just be hanging. Hey Charlene, how are you? Just trying to get me in here. How are you all doing today? Hello everybody. I know it's kind of a cryptic talk about the shadow chasers, but it's going to be fun. Hey Hetty, how are you? Hey Crystal. Hey Linda. Crystal, how's it doing up in where you're at? Is it snowing? We got a little skift of snow on the ground last night, but nothing to West Virginia style anyway. We usually have a lot of snow. I'm a little leery at the end of this month. That one year we had 38 inches drop the end of February, so I'm getting a little nervous. Hey Becky, how are you doing? See if I'm in here yet. Yeah, there I am. I need to get it up here where I can see the comments. Okay, we're going to get on in with it. Thank you all for coming. What I'm going to talk about today is Ground Hog's Day. That is tomorrow. So, it always happens on February the 2nd, and of course, you know, it's never the same day every year, but it is the same date every year. It's not a national holiday, but it is something that a lot of people put a lot of stock in. Now, according to legend, the groundhog, if he sees his shadow, then there'll be, let me make sure I got this. I get this backwards. If he sees his shadow, then winter will continue. You'll get 6 more weeks of winter. I don't want to see him see his shadow. So if it's sunshiny tomorrow, more likely he's going to see his shadow. And if it's not, if it's cloudy tomorrow, he won't. So that means he's predicting an early spring. So what we're going to do is we're going to hope that he doesn't see his shadow. But of course, it doesn't really matter whether he does see his shadow or he doesn't see his shadow. It's still going to be spring, March the 20th of this year at 5:34 p.m. That's an awful strange time. You would think that when you woke up on March the 20th, you would have spring. But it says it doesn't officially come in when the vernal equinox changes over until 5:34. Curiously enough, the United States and Canada are the only 2 countries in the world that celebrate Groundhog Day. Yeah, Beck, everybody's trying to stay warm now. Hi, Sheila. Glad you stopped by. So it doesn't matter. In that time frame, it could be snowy, rainy, wet, cold. Spring's still going to come on March the 20th. The groundhog is a part of the Marmot family. He's kin to the squirrels, the extra large squirrels, they say, but he's kin to the squirrels. He's also called a woodchuck. They used to come down to the lodge all the time, and they would ask me if I seen woodchucks. I never had heard it called a woodchuck. It was always a groundhog when I was growing up. So I had to look up woodchuck one time, and it was a groundhog. And they're also called a whistle pig. And the reason that they're called a whistle pig is because when they get scared or nervous, hi Pam, and if they're a little threatened, they make this high-pitched whistle. So that's why some people call them whistle pigs. There was a little saying when I was a kid that was so hard for me to say that I'm going to try. Hopefully nobody laughs at me, but if you do, that's fine too. They used to say, how much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Now, I could not get that. My daddy tried over and over and over again to get me to say that, and I could not. But look at me now, Dad. I actually got through it. What, for the people that's not in, hey, Melissa, that's not in this area, which I don't see any, but if you're watching it on the replay, in your city, what is the Ground Hog for Groundhog's Day called? Is it, do you go with Punxsutawney Field, that's up in Pennsylvania? We have one here in West Virginia called French Creek Freddy. I always thought, I always thought he would be in Charleston, but obviously not. He's up in French Creek. The history of the Groundhog Day really surprised me because I didn't think, well, like a lot of things in my life, as I've gotten older, I've asked more questions than I did when I was a kid. I just took it at face value and just went on about its business. But the Groundhog Day tradition is actually in, it followed suit behind and is kin to a thing called Candlemas. Just like Christmas, Candlemas, which replaced a thing called Embolic, which was before Christians, wherever Christians, when Christ got here, it was some kind of a celebration that they did. And it's a Scottish prophecy that foretells spring. Here in the U.S., it came to us through the Pennsylvania Dutch, which that's kind of my relatives back in the day. If anybody knows me, they know I did genealogy and still love genealogy. I just have got so far behind that trying to catch up is being a little bit more difficult for me, but I will get back into it. I'd like to start just a second channel that does nothing but genealogy. Anybody interested in that, just give me a holla and I'll start from the basics, from where I started to learn. Right now, they've got so many genealogy programs out there that can find it faster and stuff, but if you actually find it on your own, and you don't take somebody else's word for it, it is such a thrill. You are so excited to tell your family, to tell your kids, to tell everybody what you've learned, what is now part of your family history. So if anybody's interested in me doing a second channel of just genealogy, wouldn't include crafts or anything else, just simple genealogy, let me know. It says that if it was sunny weather on Candlemas, was in for a long winter. So it's basically the same thing as the Groundhog seeing his shadow. So there was a little poem. I'm not really going to read that. That's too much involved. But it does remind me of a saying back when I was younger. My Grandma Johnson always said that if the eaves stripped on February the 14th, then it was going to be a good fruit year. Does anybody out there have any sayings from a family member, an older family member that's passed on, that you remember them saying that could, be brought back into this crazy world we're living, to where it can be taught to the kids so that they can be familiar with the old sayings? We don't really talk to our kids as much as what we should. They seem to just come in, flitter around for a little bit, and head on to the room with their phone or their game or whatever. But they need to know this kind of stuff because, unfortunately, as we're getting older, we're not going to be here. And the ones that taught us aren't here. So, just pick up something and write it down. Write you down a little piece of paper that you want the kids to know, and just, bring it up in conversation somewhere. The list of the most famous ones is, of course, the Punxsutawney Phil that I was talking about. He's from Pennsylvania. He first started doing his prediction of the weather in 1887. Now, I'm sure the one that's up there now is not the one that did the first one. It's probably like the one that's on down here. We got Chuckles 9, and it says that this Chuckles has replaced the 8 before him. So I'm not sure when he started, but I'm sure there's a lot more Chuckles and a lot more Punxsutawney Phils. But they have a big celebration and everything up there for him. You go in today. It starts at like 1 o'clock today, and it goes on until they pull him out of his den tomorrow at 9 o'clock so they see whether he can see his shadow or not. Which I guess is the only way they can do it, because he's not going to come out until he's ready, and it probably won't be on February the 2nd if he's not ready to come out. So they have to do it somehow. And of course we have French Creek Freddy. New York has Dunkirk Dave, Pothole Pete, and Staten Island Chuck. They got 3. That's a big state, so I guess they have to have 3. Ohio has 2. They have Buckeye Chuck and Thistle the Whistle Pig. General Beauregard Lee is from Jackson, Georgia. Chattanooga Chuck, of course, from Tennessee. Shaddux is from Louisiana. Jimmy the Ground Hog is from Wisconsin. And Woodstock Willie is from Woodstock, Illinois. Now, the funniest thing, that's the reason I brought him up last, is because the hometown, Woodstock, Illinois, is where the movie, hi Patricia, where the movie Groundhog Day was filmed. If anybody remembers that movie with Bill Murray, it's where he was a weatherman who went to Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania to see Punxsutawney Phil come out of his den to see whether he seen his shadow or not. Well, when he got up there, he kept living the same day over and over and over again. Now, that would be something, not what I want to have happen in my life, but can you imagine to have to live this same exact day over and over and over again? Even if it was a good day, it would become like, what's going on here? And then there was I looked up Kentucky. I did not see, for Christy, I did not see a groundhog specifically for there, but they rely on what Punxsutawney Phil says. So if he says there's going to be an early spring, cool. Of course, he's only been right 18 times during that entire time from 1887. And then I wanted to do my crafts today. It's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to do one that's with this particular groundhog theory. Does anybody believe in the groundhog? Do you watch him to see if it's going to be 6 more weeks of winter? Do you watch him to see if he's right? Hi, Betty. I'm talking about groundhogs and Groundhog Day. I said, BU come on. I looked up Mississippi. If you guys have a groundhog, I couldn't find it online, which is where I'll research everything that I do. But what I did find was a preacher that was in Mississippi was preaching a funeral, a cremation funeral. And he had a friend up in Illinois. This came in with the Woodstock thing. Had a friend up, hi Mona, had a friend up in Illinois. Well, when he went to, when the preacher went to do the ceremony, he accidentally backed into the hole that they were going to put the urn in. Well, he went to tell his little friend in Illinois and said that friend in Illinois just laughed and laughed and laughed. And he said, what do you find so funny? He said, well, when you got up out of there, did you see your shadow? That was something with the Mississippi Moments is what that's called. So I thought that was cute. He just turned a interesting thing and put it online. So what I did was, to get to my craft, is I actually did this up on the computer, but I sketched it on this. And since my computer I can't show you, I just took a piece of paper and wrote down, or I typed down all the names that I just give you. So we're going to see if they had a shadow or no shadow. I'm going to do that tomorrow and let y'all know the next West Virginia Wednesday. And then I'm going to track the 42 days, which is 7 times 6, 6 weeks times 7, 42 days, to see if he's real. See if we get more rain, more snow, more cold temperatures, or whatever. And at the end of that 42 days, I'll tell you whether or not poor old Punxsutawney Phil is telling you the exact thing this year, or if he was a little on the off side. But that's what I'm going to do. So if we have any questions, I also wanted to mention that for everybody, you all probably know, but this is February the 1st, and this is my great-grandson's 2nd birthday. So happy birthday, Cruzy. Happy, happy, happy birthday. He come into our life a couple years ago. A very welcome addition. He is a doll baby. If sometime I ever get him up here, I will get him so that I can be. He is just a sweetheart. So happy birthday, Cruz. Happy birthday. Now the next thing I'm going to do is a craft. Now if any of you all have been watching our YouTube channel, you've seen Mandy do flowers. Oh shoot, I gotta go get my scissors. I'll have to do that in just a second. I'll put them in the, I put them in the kitchen. But anyway, I'm going to make a flower of my own. I'm going to take this 12 by 12 sheet of paper. I've got 4 of them. And I'm going to take it and make a flower out of it. And I'll be right back. I'm going to get my scissors. I thought I had everything I wanted. I got 15 pair of scissors, and when I want to use one, they're never around. So, turn my glue gun is on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move all this stuff out of my way. And this is going to be, let me get this flower. I sat here all morning planning all this stuff and still forgot something. But this is what it's going to look like. This is what we're going to make. So, this is for the people that want to make roses, paper roses, but do not have a Cricut. Like Mandy, she did a really, really good job with hers. She cut her beginning pages out on what we call our Cricut, which is just a cutting machine. But for this one, you're not going to have to do, you have to do cutting with scissors, but you're not going to have to use the Cricut. So I'm going to bend you down where you can see what I'm doing. Yeah, that's gotcha. Okay, now I'll need 4 sheets of 12 by 12 paper. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this paper we got at Michael's. It comes in, sometimes you can get a book of them. We got books for $3. But we're working with the solid colors today. So all you do is you take it and you go, let me get this out of the way so that you can see it against the thing. Take it and put it from one end to the other one. And just tighten it down. You can use scissors, pencil, whatever you have. And then you go, just fold it over with the folded side down, fold it over and up to the top and do it again. Now you're going to do that one more time. Take the folded edge to the folded edge. Okay, now you're going to do all 4 of them like it. And it's real easy, especially if you're using copy paper. This is 65-pound cardstock, so it's a little bit tougher to get the paper to bend the way you want it to bend. We're going to do all 4 of them the same way. It's so dark in here, guys. I think I'm going to have to get Timmy to put me a light right overhead on them little hanging lights. As soon as it gets warmer, I'll do these out on the front porch. Hi, Heather. Okay, now, from here, with the folded side on the outside, just take your scissors and cut you just a little small hole at the bottom. Just like that. Just a little part off of it. And then you can take a pencil or a pen and just draw you a line of how you think the rose petal would look. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just kind of a line. Just like that. And then just take your scissors and cut along that line. Okay, now see, you've got, when you open it up, you'll see, it's like doing snowflakes. You'll see you've got your edges on there, okay? So I'm going to fold it back up, and I'm going to take this as my template. I always keep your folded edge to the outside. Cut your end off of it. Then you can just use this one as a pattern. Got the other ones. My hand don't go into a cramp here. We can get this done. It's been known to do that lately. And they don't have to be 100% perfect because rose petals are all different. Get that out of my way. And with the folded edge to the outside. Alright. Now we're going to get to the fun part. But if you want to make big old flower roses set in your table, you can do these at any size. From the 3-inch squares all the way up to the 12-inch squares. It's harder to do bigger than a 12-inch square because they generally don't make paper any bigger than that. But, okay, so now you've got your 4 pieces. You're going to open them up just like this. And you're going to cut this one square off, that one little triangle off right there. Just one. Cut it off both sides. But do not throw it away. Set that off to the side because you're going to need it. So there is the one side that you're going to need. And we're going to go ahead and put it together. You're going to take this one that you got left and this one and overlap them like this. Just like that. And you just take, you can take regular glue, you can take paper glue, whatever you got handy. I'm just going to use hot glue. And yes, I probably will get burnt. Every time I work with hot glue, I get burnt. Okay, so there's our very first one. So we're going to set it off to the side. Now you're going to take the second one. And this one, you're going to cut 2 of them off. First one, you just cut 1 off. This one, you're going to cut 2. and put it off to the side. Now you're going to do the same thing. Is you're going to bring this one up over this one, just like that. You could find some really good liquid glue that held fast. I would probably suggest using that because this hot glue will burn you. Okay, next one in line. I guess you got it. Next one, we're going to cut 3. 1, 2, 3 off. I'm going to try some of those flowers like Mandy done. And if anybody would like to have the petals cut, we've got with our Cricut. All you have to do is let us know, and we can, if we've got the color, we can cut them out for you. Or you could probably get the pattern and cut it out yourself. Head it out?
Yes.
All right. Give Cruzy a hug for me.
Will do. Love you.
Love you too. Sean's getting ready to go over and see Cruz for his birthday. All right, so there's that one. We're going to set it off to the side. Set the 3 off to the side. And then the final one, we're going to cut it right across the center. Right here. You're going to have 4 left over. Now you're going to keep one of them, and the other one you're not going to need at all. So you can just set it off to the side. And we're just going to keep on with our doing of putting them together. Bring them up and overlap them. Oops, this one, yeah, I cut the bottom off that one. Okay. Now, you're going to go back to the 3. And all I do is roll the 3 so that it's ready to take the glue, you know, the glue on it. Because if you don't, it's hard to get it to start. And then just take it and squish it to where it's got a round spot in it. This one I didn't cut a lot of the bottom off of it, so I will. There we go. And then we're going back to the 2, and I'm going to do the same thing with it. It's basically just roll it up, because you're trying to make the bud on the inside of the flower, but you want it to, you know, look good. So I just usually just go down a little piece down here. I don't go all the way flat over. Whoa, glue come out the side. There we go. And there you go, you've got that one. Now, this last one that's just the one, you're going to want to roll it up as tightly as you can. Rolling the little side and then roll the big side into it. So that it looks like a rosebud. Okay, so now, put a little bit more glue on that end. Now, the easiest part is yet to come. You take each one of these. I try to make them bend in. Okay, and you just take a little bit of glue and go around the bottom. And then you take it and stick it down in there. Try to off-center the buds. And then try to make it stand up in there as even as you can around the outside. And then you take the next one. And you do the same thing, trying to offset those edges. And you just keep going down till you get all 6 of them in there. And I bet you wonder how you started out with 4 and ended up with 6 petals. That's because the first 3 that you did, you kept the parts that you cut off. So now you have a 6-petal rose. And stick the last one down in there. Oh, I got one. Oh, there's one more. I knew there was. So it's actually going to be a 7-petal rose. And you stick that down in there. Now, you manipulate it a little bit. And there's your rose. And you can make it with any size. This one doesn't have enough glue on it. It's wanting to fall off on me. There you go. That's all there is to it. Hi, Emily. Hey, Danielle. I hope you all enjoyed me making this paper rose. And there we go. Just as easy as that to make roses. So let me pull you back up so I can see you. Read the comments as they come in. My computer. Oh, thank you, Linda. Some of my comments are coming in on my computer and some of them aren't. So, all right, guys. I thought I want to try to keep you about 30 minutes each time. I want to let you know that my next installment of 23 and 23 will be up on, thank you, Betty. Will be up on Saturday. It's the finishing of my bedroom. And boy, I'm telling you what's the truth. I worked hard. Not long, because I'm not, my breathing ain't good to do it for a long amount of time. Thank you, Becky. But the it's a good video. I just finished doing it. I'm going to put a couple more little pictures on the end of it, and then I'm going to upload it, and it'll go up Saturday morning at 8 o'clock. It'll be ready to go. And then I've got a couple more tutorials that I'm going to put up, and I'm going to download last week's Facebook Live and this West Virginia Wednesday and put them up. So if anybody gets a chance to go over to YouTube and look us up, we did get 4 new subscribers. Yay! Excited for last week. So somebody is watching, and I appreciate each and every one of you that lets everybody know, or just tell them, say, hey, just check them out. If they like us, they do. If they don't, oh well. But I really, really, really enjoy doing it. So I will be doing it whether or not I get another subscriber. But I tell you what, I was excited when those 4 come on. So thank you very much, each and every one of you that watch me, that stay watching, that enjoy what I'm doing. Betty, I haven't forgot about putting up the snow picture. We just ain't had any snow yet. But as soon as I do, we will. And I'll put up some after shots of the bedroom. Basically so that I can remember it was clean at one time. We're not real good at keeping it that way. But all right, guys. Well, you all have a wonderful day. And happy birthday again, Cruiser. And I hope to see you. He's going to have a birthday party on the 11th. So Gigi's going to be over there celebrating with the baby. All right, guys. Y'all have a wonderful day. We'll talk to you next time. Don't forget, next Thursday, not tomorrow, but next Thursday will be Facebook Live. Bye-bye.